We have Lee in the studio. We have my mom, man in the camera. So we have a full house today. And Jim is also present, but he's just not in the room speaking right now. So kind of similar to last time. I know we're all kind of getting settled. I don't know how you guys felt about the last time. Like I said, you guys are returning faces, but same softball question. What's your name? How are you doing today? That's all. Y'all can go right or left. We can start with Mr. Payne to my right as well, whatever y'all want to do.
I'm James Payne,
Bring the mic closer.
a member of Friendship Baptist Church and responsible for addressing educational needs within that particular entity, trying to broaden the participation and attendance of African American students to HBCUs throughout the city of Buffalo and throughout the state of New York.
Okay.
I'm Kamara. I go to Burgard. Yeah,
What grade are you?
I'm a senior.
Senior this year.
I'm Demario. I'm a junior, and I go to Burgard High School.
My name is Jai. I go to Burger. I'm high.
And what year are you as well?
Oh, I'm a senior too.
Okay, like graduating this year.
Yeah.
Did y'all already graduate?
No.
Nah,
Oh, soon. What's the date?
15.
Y'all excited?
No, we graduate on the 25th.
Yeah.
But our last year of school is the 15th.
Well, how do y'all feel? Y'all excited? Are y'all nervous? What's the thoughts going through your mind as you make this transition?
I feel like I'm scared because I don't know what to do after I graduate. But I know I'm going to college, but I don't know what to like expect because I don't got to wake up early in the morning to like go to school. So like, it's a little different.
That's fair. You touch.
Yeah, I graduate.
We're gonna stick with the senior just because you got a whole nother year. You still
Yeah.
got time to decide. As the other senior, how do you feel graduating? What's your thoughts?
I'm ready. I'm prepared. I've been prepared since junior year.
These are two very different answers, right? But they represent two very real different paths. I know when I left, I was more in her boat. I did not know really what adulthood looked like. And for what you're saying, I think there is a period of life when you first leave school when you got to figure out, how to get out the bed on your own. Like TikTok, Reels, all that got a real good, that bed comfy. It's real comfy. But to that point, I think eventually, especially because you've gotten this far, if you graduated, it shows that somewhere inside of you, there's a person who wants to be better, who still wants to grow. So even if it's hard, I feel like you're going to figure it out because it is something that I found, life at least, is something that you figure out. And this idea, we low-key feel when we leave school, because you have to pick a major, because you have to pick a college, it feels like you have to pick where your life is going to go at 18, and that's really difficult. So maybe Mr. Payne, could you help give some more perspective on life really isn't about having the answer figured out, but it's more about figuring it out as you go, or maybe not. Tell us as an adult who's lived in the real world for a while.
Well, these three young people attended the HBCU college tour with me, had a chance to sit around with me, had a chance to hear some of my indoctrination in regards to education and being about the pursuit, not necessarily chasing after the bag, but going after those things that make you happy in order to achieve your particular goals. But one of the things that have become very pressing for me has been the significance of parental involvement as it relates to their children's education and the direction in which they're inclined to go. At this particular point in time, throughout the city of Buffalo, for the most part that I observe, you have such a limited number of parents actively involved in the educational process. So as a result of that, when our kids graduate, they find themselves dealing with a great deal of deprivation in terms of the direction in which they're interested in going in. I think if parents set an agenda and inclined to do so, it helps children to go about the business and young people go about the business of achieving their own goals. But if you don't have an agenda and it's not coming from home, then where is it going to come from?
That's true. And it feels like it's this balance between helping kids or helping youth go to where they're going to be best, but also give them the freedom to explore what they enjoy and see that as life sees fit, right? Because not only do you want to do a job that's going to pay you well, but you want to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
And so being able and giving yourself that freedom to explore, I guess the question starts from, I heard you mention it. What would you say now as high schoolers makes you happy? What is something that you feel like when you're doing it just is a passion that you love and you could see yourself doing for a while? And the answer can be, I don't know as well. That's valid as well.
I like fighting. So that's just like, I don't know. I just like fighting, so I find that as a passion. So I'm a box. Simple.
Do you have any plans set in place, or you're boxing right now, or you just want to box in the future?
No, okay. So something I did right now to help me with that was like doing track. That was to build up my endurance. I did track for a little bit. It was my first time, and I did pretty good. But now I'm just looking for like a boxing ring or something, so I can like start practicing and stuff and all that. But I'll be doing my push-ups and stuff, so that's good.
Did you say boxing? Oh, got you. Sorry. Yes, boxing like the martial art. We have gym in the studio.
Is because there is some much help for you on that. I don't know if you know that already in Buffalo. And this is, as y'all were talking, this is one of the things about expressing yourself. Remember when I came in the door, I said, y'all gonna be scared to talk. I was kidding, but I was also noting that young people like yourself, sometimes when you have the opportunity to bring it, you're somewhat hesitant. I want you to, I want you to leave it all in that room on the table and share it all out because the whole community is listening. And your voices do matter. And that one comment that you just made about liking boxing automatically sent off an alarm, and I'm sure a lot of listeners' minds, just like in mine, because you're expressing something you like, and what came with that is what I sense was a need for help on where to connect you, to help you get deeper into it if that's what you would like. So that's why I jumped in, and that's one of the things why I'm encouraging you all to express yourself. What in the community do you think would help you do the things you want to do or learn the things you want to do, as well as what in the school environment does that too, because they're one and the same. Education doesn't start at the red brick house door. It starts at the community door, and they both have to be online with you, but you also have to be online with it. So that's why I say express yourself, and you'll find that there's some great responses to you.
So maybe what we'll do is we'll keep with boxing, but we'll have you two express what you guys enjoy, and then we'll go back through and say what is one thing you think the community or the people around you could do to help support you making that dream a reality. So if you is boxing, we'll keep that in mind, but we're gonna come back around and say, what could we as a community provide? Is it a number? Is it a resource? And then hopefully we can try to connect that. But moving to your left and to your right, what do you guys enjoy? What is something that you guys find as a passion that you may want to see yourself doing for a long time?
I want to see myself doing track. Like, I like track. I like to run. But if I go to college in track, it's going to be a whole different other story because I'm some fast people. So I got to.
You fast though, right? So so.
I got to keep practicing and get better at track.
Absolutely. No, go ahead.
I'm good at sports, but I don't take it as serious as I should. So, but the thing is, like on the internet, they make it seem impossible to make it. So like I have like all this confidence, all this courage to do it, and then you go on the internet and he's in the 8th grade and he's 6'7", like stuff like that. We're like, but I've been doing this since I was a little boy, and he's only in 8th grade and he has more recognition because of who his name's attached to.
And so what are the things, especially hearing that all these things are athletic endeavors, what are the things that you think the community needs to provide? Is it more exposure? I know I went to Cleveland K-8, and then I went to Canisius for my high school years, and there was a dramatic difference in how they were preparing athletes to go compete at the collegiate level, right? Just the trajectory of things. We're talking about, let's shoot at D1 and fall down. They may just try to get you to D3 at a smaller school. And so what other things that a community could have provide to help people that want to box, that want to run, that want to do these multiple sports, or that we could provide even potentially through this show? A lot of words. How can we help y'all get there?
There's something interesting that's going on here. You know, when I was in high school, I knew where I was going to go. I knew that I was headed to somebody HBCU. The community was always advocating for HBCUs. I knew without a doubt that I was going to walk across that stage and I'm going direct into that particular institution. But it was based upon the environment that I was in. I was a part of a boys choir, and the teachers passed away, but it was a great influence on me, Donald Hilliard. But the agenda was always to move in an academic direction. I'm listening to these young people, and I want to say this too. These young people here were selected to take a tour. They were pointed out. They were selected. They were handpicked. Some of them I've seen since that particular period of time. They talked about the process in terms of going into school, scholarships availability, and process in terms of admissions. I know the challenges that they have. I know some of the doubts that they have. And the question ultimately for them is, are they going to have that sense of stick-to-itiveness? When I was a young boy, people in the community always talked about staying on the case. The question is, will they be able to stay on the case in spite of the opposition that's out there, internal and external, staying on the case in spite of the challenges that exist and the doubt that they may have themselves in terms of who they are. And the only way they're going to be able to successfully engage in that particular process is they got to know what they know, what they know. And the question is, how do they feel about themselves and the community that they're coming from in terms of allowing them to go about their own pursuits, educationally, professionally, career-wise? What is your long-term and what is your short-term goals?
I think especially for what you were talking about, when you were a boy, you were concrete and sure. I was asked to describe the state of young people. I was on LinkedIn and someone shot me a message, and this is kind of the summary of what I said. I said it's a different time than it's ever been. And I'm not saying choices were easier in your time or in your time, but it just felt like a degree was good. Like, if I just get this degree, I'm good. But nowadays, it's like, no, you're not good. Like, you can get a degree and still be broke. Like, every option doesn't feel as concrete. And then you add in the internet, and like you said, it's no longer about being the best boxer in Buffalo, the best athlete in Buffalo, the fastest runner in your school. No, you got to be the fastest runner in the nation. Yeah. It's connected everything. Yeah. And so what it does, it makes it feel like young people feel like we're confined within this. Either you're going to just make it or you're done. Like, it's like, it feels like this gap, and it's due to inflation as well. This gap is widening where it's like, how is Jake Paul making all this money and I'm struggling? And I feel like if I don't make that level of money, I'm going to struggle forever. It's put it into this mindset where it feels very extreme. And what it does is it creates a generation. Though we have the internet, we have a generation who has the world at our fingertips, but it's too fearful to grab it. And I'm saying that to say that for what you guys were talking about, back in the day, if they decided I wanted to box, they wouldn't do track. First thing they would have did is what? Went to a box gym and said, how do I box? That's it. But we just don't even think about these options because that's not how we were trained or wired to maneuver the world. And I know my mom.
Yeah, can I use your mic real quick? Thank you. Just scroll it over. So, Mr. Payne, Payne. I think it's interesting because I'm a parent and I have 3 adult children. One's 24, one's 22, one is 20. That's Austin. And growing up, I don't know that I knew what I wanted to do. I think that the expectation was set and I didn't really have a choice. And what I mean by that is when I graduated, there was an expectation that I went right into college. But the reason with my children, because you keep saying it set the agenda, like me and my husband, the agenda we set was different because I pursued and went to a college because my friends went to RIT. I went into engineering because my guidance counselor told me that they didn't even understand how I got into RIT, so I wanted to prove them wrong. I then was in college flailing because I was there, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I do tell this publicly. My mother probably be passing out. My first GPA was a point something. It's out of 4, so that means you should have got kicked out of school. It was a point something because it was the first time that I had the freedom of choice. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. All I knew was my mother was really strict. I grew up in a church, so I was at every party. I didn't drink, didn't smoke, never been drunk, never been high, but that was my agenda. Every party that I could get to, that was the agenda because it was exciting to have all this freedom. I graduated with my degree in engineering, but I instantly knew I hated it from my first co-op. Went into the field, had a great job, flying on private planes and all the things, but I hated that job. So then I kept trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. And because I had a husband who said, you could do whatever you choose, for years and years and years, I just flailed around trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So for me, when we started having kids, it was important to see what are they good at. So yeah, I didn't really, my children would probably say something different, but I set the expectation and the agenda. When you graduate, I want you to find something that you enjoy, because you can make money cleaning toilets and have a good life. You can make money being a surgeon and be miserable and broke because you're living check to check because you don't know how to manage your money. And so for me, I set a different type of agenda. And I do find that I'm in debates with other parents right now, because I had kids who all did well. They could have went to any colleges that they wanted to, but the agenda was trying to help them figure out their way. So 2 started college. One transitioned from one field into something different. The other one is got like a couple more credits and she may or may not graduate. And then I have my son. I have my son who just, he graduated from high school with a 4.0 and is trying to figure out his ways. But I think the thing for me is, I think that the experience I'm having as a parent is my kids trying to figure it out. However, having that freedom without the expectation of this is the path you need to go will save them time from all the people that I see in my age group who still don't know what they want to do in their 50s and still trying to figure it out. Hustle, 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 but just not having that full life because they don't even know what it is. So I love when I hear these questions for these kids, and we'll have some programs if you're interested for the summer. Anyways, I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely. Respond, please.
I hear what you're saying, right? But like his generation, like it's the same generation. He's 20, I'm 17. It's the same generation, but like the way he grew up is different the way we grew up, depending on your parents. So like if you have older parents, they were raised that way, so they're gonna raise you how they were raised. So come in the house on the street lights, come on, you gotta have this to graduate, gotta have that to graduate. But like some kids who mom had them at 16 or are influenced by negative things think that it's okay that their kids sell drugs because they're making money to help them pay for the bills and stuff like that, which shouldn't be, sought after. But it's just like that, and they live that lifestyle and they get comfortable with that lifestyle, and it just is what it is. So then when they graduate high school, they just do the same thing, and those are people that end up being like little league coaches and janitors and working 9 to 5 when they didn't have to do that.
Be careful with assumptions. I just
my
want to say
question-
that.
I guess my question would be, well, first off, I guess the question even past that becomes, what does success look like for a person, right? Because we're really talking from a lot of different angles here. We're talking about monetary, financial success. We're talking about becoming the person you feel like you were called to be. These are a lot of different things, because you're right. I always tell everybody this. I, Austin Martin, have lived a very privileged life. I had the freedom of 2 parents who both wanted the best for me. I was never struggling in school. I graduated with a 4.0. I was like that. But I graduated with a 4.0, and I did it. Honors classes and all. I was into my dream school. I was into Howard. Half off on a scholarship. Like, I could have did it. And I chose to step away for me. And I understand that's a choice that every kid don't get to make. I have friends who didn't even get to have college be a choice because let them not get a scholarship, they can't go. And I understood how different of those choices were. But I also understood how whether you were going to college or not, because I saw my sisters do it, if you don't know what you want to do, you're going to struggle. Because the only way excellence doesn't have a career title. Right? Because think about it like this. Janitor, probably not the best, but imagine you're the best janitor in the nation. You can understand how cool that would be. Like, yo, I'm #1 in the nation. That's still pretty fire. And so you can find excellence in whatever you do, but you have to know what you want to do. And even past that, for that second question, once you know what you want to do, you have to know what you're prepared to do to get it. I spent 2 years, like she said, I knew I wanted to speak, but I was doing all these other things just to placate my time. And I wish I would have had someone just say, Austin, just call people and ask, can you speak for them? So I'm saying that to say, and the reason why I even talked about what I was talking about earlier is, though we have all this information, I think adults in our community to help young people understand, how do you break down goals systematically? Because we have a lot of people like myself who know we have goals, but just don't know how we're going to achieve them.
You have comments from the radio. Do you want to hear them from Facebook?
Sure.
We don't have to do them right now. You can finish here.
But as far as, like you said, that process, what, Jim, or maybe Mr., like you said giving people those agendas, those goals. How can the community help their kids achieve their goals without beginning to confine them as to what those goals should be?
I think it's coming out by the very virtue that when we talk about, we got to create something for them to attract them, that's a sign that what would draw their attention is not here. And then another sign too is that we need to listen more deeply to them when they talk. Because some of the expressions that I think, let's think of myself as young. When I was young, my expressions about what I want carried a lot of emotions that have to be dealt with. When you could be upset about not having something. You could even have an emotion. You can be mad, but the need to be able to get across those things that you feel is important. And it's scary too, because people can keep asking you, but you need to drive yourself to a point that you express yourself, because it's the same thing for you to reach your goal. Getting to your goal, you could set a 5-year plan, but what if it takes you 15? You got to drive to go that? And it may be that, yeah, you may need to think about making a change to plan. Or it may be that even making your plan, the environment or the what with all that it takes to get to the fruition of what you want, it is going to take a long time. So you're going to have that persistence and that drive in you. But it starts first with engaging from the level where you at. People can't provide anything for you. They can't read your mind. So you have to express it, and it don't have to be perfect. That's what the village is about. That's what we do. We hold each other, and in many ways, I'll end by saying this. I think sometimes our young people feel like they haven't been held. I mean, held by a community, providing safe places, providing places that really enhance an opportunity for them to grow their talents. And also really being able to engage them when they're in those emotional moments. Look, we talked about a lot of the bullying that goes around, but we talk about it mainly around the shooting and the big fights. But we don't talk about the small pressuring that different students get, not only from those who don't like them, but from peer pressure too. These 3 young folks here that I heard earlier, they were handpicked. You know what that says to me? These are young leaders in development. And to you 3, I would say you got to own it. You got a team around you. You came in with 3 members of your team already, and you done picked up already a studio of 4 who is rooting for you. And we're saying to you, hey, we're a safe spot for you. And we're a cheering section for you. And we want you. I wasn't kidding about raise your voice. I want to hear the same kind of level of your voice that you use when you're in the park. And I know when you're in the park, you don't be barely lost without word. I just said it's really an expression of love, and I love the fact that you're here again today. It's a powerful moment in learning on all levels. So I'm just saying how I feel, and I'm with y'all. I ain't gonna tell you what zone I'm in terms of age, but my spirit rocks from the youngest to the oldest, and I'm in every generation. And I'm seeing me and you, and I'm sure others see themselves. That's why we want you to know we with you, babe. We with you.
And like I said, I think it's this relationship. And when I describe the young people, I said fear. I know you described graduation with fear. I know we know what we probably could do to get further on our goals. Are you going to like every camp possible, exposure camp? You're doing all those things, and it's probably what happens is, even for as far as Boston is concerned, there's like a fear that like, what happens if I don't make it, right? What happens if I don't get there? Which kind of for a while, for me at least, stopped me from doing the things that I needed to do to get there, because I was so concerned on what it looks like if I don't. And for what you're talking about, are we going to a break soon?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you could hold that. We'll go to the break and come back, and like I said, we're going to take you to the floor. They know what I mean.
That's right.
Everybody, it is time to get ready for the 36th annual Taking It to the Streets, August 17 and 18, August 17 and 18.
If y'all want to get on mic, you can, you know.
This is
Oh, okay.
And to be in touch with 716-507-1991. National and local recording artists will be with us. Wonderful income, lots of activity going on. Give us a call for your participation. Individual and shelter users, call now.
I don't know.
5071-931. All of our sponsors and participants will be announced at a later date. You will know everything that's happening at the 36th annual Taking It to the Streets, August 17 and 18 in the Martin Luther King Park.
And there's a fear that's associated with even breaking from that image. Imagine your whole life, all you saw was drugs, fast money. Then you like, yo, I want to be a fashion designer. Nah, cut that. Like, that will do a hard stop. Now, is there anything wrong with that? Oh, you might want to be Virgil Abloh. But for a lot of kids, it's this fear that when I break out of what I'm used to, it's this passage in the Bible that says you can't be a prophet in your own lane. And I didn't get it for a while because I was like, I feel like I could be him in Buffalo. But to that point, there's a lot of people in Buffalo who only know Austin back when I was cleaning headlights. Because I had mad business. They might only think, oh, this is just a hustler. So at a certain point, if I'm so stuck into what other people think, you aren't who you think you are who others think you are. That's how when you come into school or meet your parents, you might act a different way because you think your parents see you as a respectful young man. That's why you don't curse the same way you curse in front of your parents, in front of your friends, and vice versa. You act in the environment that you think people perceive you as. And so for a lot of kids who can't break out of that image, you pursuing it to the best of your ability, but I know there's a lot of other kids, and I'm using me as the example for this, who just couldn't because I was so stuck on if that looked like what Austin was. Just a quick recap for what we was talking about. I didn't even know he was coming back from break. I never heard that song before. But to that point, I was talking about fear. And again, I want to hear you guys' discussion on it and how that can even play, even when you are pursuing it, those thoughts you may hear in your head as you're trying to make that dream happen. I think there's a big fear aspect. And that's why the word I use was you have a generation who has the world at their fingertips, but is too fearful to grab it because naturally there's a fear that's associated with trying to develop and better yourself. To change, you have to lose something else. And just as much as we see these success stories like Jake Paul, stuff like that, you see people every day get online and just get straight clowned. And so it creates a society where it's almost weird sometimes to try, to break out of what people are used to. And sometimes that fear causes us to overcomplicate what we know is simple. Because to that point, yes, maybe calling a box gym is simpler than a track, but they also might be like, hell no, we don't want, and then you be like, damn, I might hurt your. So to that point, if we don't have the correct systems around us to not only protect us while we're trying to change, but give us the abilities and resources to make that change in a way that's effective, does fear play a big role in how you pursue your dreams for you guys? Like for you, if you're saying track something that you want to do, are there ever moments where the fear of you not getting there cause you not to take action on opportunities?
Yeah, I feel like when I run track and I think like, okay, I'm gonna run track in college, I hear like people be like, you too short, you can't run that fast. There's other people that's gonna smoke you. This, that, and the third. Like people say foul stuff, but and that kind of pulls me back, being like, okay, maybe I can't do it. So
That's real. Like that's very, very, very real. Anybody else want to comment? Even for you, maybe what like it's like that self-talk aspect, but for you, like does boxing, is there a part of fear that's like, I don't want to pursue this with everything that I have because what if this is just, like we said, a crazy dream? Is there any of those thoughts in your head when you think about pursuing boxing as a career?
Some days like that. It's not usually I'm like really high in energy and stuff. It just be like it's really like a battle in my head. Like it be the doubts. It's not like fear, it's doubts. And it's either like the good going against the bad in my head. Like it'd be like people plant them bad seeds in your head, talking about like you can't do this and you can't do that, and then it'd be my own willpower. Like, man, I can do this. It ain't really nothing. But yeah, I just gotta keep fighting, and that's it.
Gotcha. And for you, like you said, you're a little different in the aspect of they're trying to figure out and like they're stepping into that, but you're telling me that like, you know, you're putting yourself in a position, like you said, where you need to. How does still those people around you and those negative thoughts maybe of, like you said, doubts or fears play into you as you're pursuing your dream?
It's a little bit about what Damari is saying. It is a self battle, but it's also like a visual battle. So like I could like when I go to those camps, when I go to those events and stuff like that, and I see other kids my age, bigger than me, faster than me, stronger than me, bigger arm than me, been doing it longer, you get in your head like, well, am I not good enough? Because they've been doing it longer, they have more exposure, they're already out there. And you're coming up out of Buffalo, which is already not seen as a football state and stuff like that. So you have to like create your own legacy out of nothing when they might come from Texas, which is where football came from, playing for one of the best high schools or colleges in Texas, and now you got to battle against that. So everybody's already on their side. So you not being the it guy, since you're the underdog, everybody already votes against you. So since you're already getting voted against in your head, you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't even try.
And so what are the things that you tell yourself? How do you, if you have these fears and these doubts, because it's not just probably in these areas of your life, everybody has doubts. And I feel like as you get older, the doubts just change, right? Maybe from going from the best boxer to maybe am I a good father? Am I a good grandparent? I feel like the doubts probably change. I don't think you ever become like just super confident, because there has to be some of those thoughts that keep you humble as well. But what are the things that you tell yourself? What are the mindsets that you try to put yourself in to continue to push through those things or those moments when you do doubt yourself?
We're both human. Like, he gotta throw the ball just like I gotta throw the ball. He gotta take his 3 steps like I gotta take my 3 steps. He gotta throw with accuracy just like I do. He gotta run just like I do. So he might be able to do it faster, but can he do it the way they want him to do it? Are you gonna do it the way they want you to do it? How many times can you do it? Are you gonna do it the right way every time? So I know that the same thing I gotta do, he gotta do. So he's not put on a higher pedestal. He still has to try out just like I do.
Right.
Going off like what he said, we all human. We all started off like as little kids. We was not born this way. He was taught that way. So like if he can be taught that way, I could be taught that way too.
I tell myself that I just need more practice. Like, because it's people like that, like they get practice like after school. They got trainers, this, that, and third. So I feel like, okay, well, I need to practice, get better, get a trainer, do the same thing they doing, because obviously it's working out for them. So I gotta get there.
Hey, Captain, you know, as you're just speaking, thinking about you're expressing the need that not only to have the competence to be able to do what you do, but you got to have the confidence. You know, if it's like what you have within you, those things that you hold of value, it's like gold. You don't give it away, and you don't let nobody just take it away. And so you got to own it. I'm saying that to own yourself, and uh, I'm not trying to tell people how to necessarily be, but you're at that point right now with the challenges you face. If you haven't already, you need to be developing a spiritual walk. You hear all these sports players, at the end of the game, talking about, oh, I thank the Lord and all of that. I ain't got nothing to say on them bad about it, and I'm not going to say anything about it, but it ought to be real. So I'm just saying, it don't mean got to be up in some house of worship every Sunday. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about getting to know from the substance and how we all got here. And you're going to have to do it someday. So I'm telling you early. And that along with what you already have in you. Remember, I mentioned the word, you got to have that drive. Well, you just expressed it. That when you have those things that come into your mind, trying to distract you, trying to throw you off guard, you got to be able to have the drive to stay focused. You probably heard somewhere, keep your eyes on the prize. The prize is that you're aiming to go at. And the challenge for you is to be prepared to deal with any kind of obstacle in your way and to make smart decisions about how you deal with obstacles. Some things you have to go around, some things you may have to go over, some things you may have to go through. And I'll end by saying that there's a book that everybody like to talk about reading, and the promise to us is that in the world you're going to have trials and tribulations. So, I mean, know that life is not going to be a skip through the grass. Know that you're going to have to use your mindset, and you're going to have to be able to recognize those who are the same as you. That's how we build community. You won't be traveling alone. There's a whole lot of shoulders out here waiting to help lift you up. But, you got to be doing those things that keep you in that zone. And like I said, I'm already a fan. I was a fan when y'all were on before. I'm even more of a fan, and I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna say, well, you know, you got to come back. So you got it.
Well, my question to you guys, I know you have mentioned like there's church and there's other aspects, and everybody doesn't have, but with church, we were talking about it even yesterday. It's supposed to be a community, right? It's your environment, right? You driving, you ultimately are in the car of your dreams, but sometimes you're on the highway, you see the little like the little bumpers almost in case you keep you back on course. For these moments and these doubts, do you guys think, or what is it about your environment? Is it helping you get through these moments, or is it hurting you in these doubtful moments? And how can you help create a better environment that will not to speak death but life into you? You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't always have to be, if you're telling me people are putting doubts into your mind, is your environment helping or hurting your ability to persevere? And should you change it if it's not?
I mean, at the same time, I used to be like I wish that our community was like all good and stuff. If everything was like more good, everybody was speaking more good stuff, things would be better. But like at the same time, we're gonna have to go through doubts and all of this bad stuff anyway throughout our life, and it's only gonna get harder. So you might as well just take it now, get better at it now, and then later on it won't affect you. So
That's fair.
Wait, ask the question again.
When it comes to our environment, do you think your environment is helping you or hindering you in those moments when you have to fight those self-doubts? And if it's not, should you change it?
Is that family or like everybody in general?
I think family is hard to describe for a lot of people. So it just depends on what your environment is. Maybe you only talk to one person in your family, maybe you're around family 24/7. But when you think about a day, all the people you interact with, that's your environment.
So in school, it's real positive. Like everybody, like they encourage me to do it. They ask me what college I'm going to. They tell me to take it serious when I get there. But then I'll go home and I'll talk to like the men of my family. Like, cause so my last name is Starks, and it's like real popular with sports. And my like my uncle's brother, which is my uncle too. Um, he went and he played for the Packers, and he went to NCCC. So like what I'm coming from is like hard, and everybody is like, you got to do this and you got to do that, and you got to take this serious in order to make it here and all that. And in my head, I'm like, well, it's just me. So if you want me to do that, help me. Like don't yell at me. Just like help me understand it. And it's like character deteriorating. Like it tears me apart, sort of kind of. But I gotta make it do it.
I want you to stay on that because I definitely want to come. I'm gonna give you a chance to answer, but I'm coming right back to you after that because I have a question that was the same question I wrote down. Bro just gave me a segue, so thank you.
Honestly, the generation right now is crazy because they doubt everything. They think you can't do nothing nowadays. They just doubt everything. That's all I gotta say.
That's very
They
true.
really doubt everything.
And my question to you would be, because we, like you said, there's always been doubters. Like you heard about it in the old songs. Like haters are not new. Haters have been around forever. And my question to you is, when we're achieving these goals, when we're pursuing these goals, say you were to, God forbid, not achieve these goals, is there value in the journey? Is there value in just trying to become a better person? What is the inherent value do you believe that you have inherent value? That whether you achieve this goal or not, you still mean something to somebody and to the world?
Yes. I was taught that if plan A doesn't work, make another plan A. So if football doesn't work, I have another outlet, but I'm not gonna just chase a second outlet because the first one is getting, dimmed. So like I like football, but I also like basketball. So it depends on which one you chase. So,
Plan A or plan A, do you have value if you didn't have a plan?
yeah, I do, because it taught me a lot. Like football is more than just throwing and catching the ball and getting hit. It's a brotherhood. It's a teamwork. It's a leadership. It's a responsibility. It's determination. It's heart. It's teamwork. You could put like all your anger into it and all of that. Like I become a completely different person when I play football. I can be me. I feel like when I play sports or like when I'm just doing something by myself, it's real peaceful and I can think.
And that piece lasts with you longer than just
the
field.
Yeah.
What about for you guys? If you don't achieve these goals, if you didn't have a plan, how do you feel like you still have value regardless of what you can achieve?
Can you repeat that?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna go straight for you. Let's say you went to go boxing, you weren't any good. Do you still feel like you mean something? Do you still feel like you're important to the world and to the people around you, and why?
I mean, yeah, of course, but like, I can't really give you a reason why. It's just that. Why
You know
would I
what?
give myself?
You know, I think it's a I think it's an age thing. I do. I can remember hearing
You gotta put the mic close to you.
Dr. King talk. I've been here so much, it's unreal. I can remember hearing Dr. King talk about the fierce urgency of now, the urgency of understanding what we need to do as a collective body of people in terms of being able to address the needs of our people within this country, within this city, within the community. Young people, we need banks that we own and operate. We need grocery stores that we own and operate. We need institutions that we own and operate. And the thing is, how do we define our significance? And especially young people, how are you going to define your significance to the uplifting of your community? They used to have this term that they would refer to people who believed in the elevation of our people as being race men, and that everything you did had something to do with the uplift and the advancement of our people. So we do know this, that all of us, we're not going to be athletes. I heard us talking about athletes today, but I didn't hear us say anything. Well, if you can be a football player and catch the ball, you can also be the owner of the team. And the thing is, our scope appears to be limited. And I understand where we're at in the community. I'm from up the street. I'm from Fox Street. And I understand the challenges associated with what people say to you. But the ultimate question is, what do you believe about yourself that sets you apart from others? And whether or not you have the intestinal fortitude to move beyond the negativities that exist within the community. And Mario, you got an award from UB too. That's not coincidental. That's because of work. That's by design. You don't have to knock anybody out. I know your academics. You know I know your academics. I know you saw me watching you in class and in school. I know what you can do. So I've had discussions with you probably about a month ago in terms of your agenda, in terms of your college education, in terms of what you're going to do. Your scope is much broader than just athletics. You have a much broader plan than just football. So when these things don't work, and you talk about having another plan, I know for a fact you got another plan. We've had this discussion. I want to talk about your plan. I want to talk about your agenda. I want you to look at it from the perspective that if football doesn't work, what are you going to come back and do within your community to elevate the community and the people that exist within it?
Well, like you said, like a legacy, right? Ever since I've been in middle school, like from the teachers to the janitors and the lunch ladies, you can go and ask any of them, they'll all tell you that I was a nice kid. So ever since that I've been in school, I always left like a good representation of who I am and who my family is and how I got raised. And I always knew that anything can happen. You can injure yourself, you know, somebody take your spot. And I'm going to college for nursing. So if that doesn't work, that's what I'm going to chase. And even if I don't make it at football, that'll still be there. And I play an instrument. So.
And for what you're saying, we do need banks and grocery stores and things of that nature. And these are why, to tie into a bow, why the questions that I'm asking is because if you don't create a safety net, kids aren't going to jump. It's scary. Like, life is scary. And I mean, we can wait for those few who are going to jump. But if we want a generation who's confident in jumping, it's a safety net. And that doesn't mean having everybody say that you're going to be great or we love you. But it means, what is it internally that lets me know that whether I try and achieve or try and not achieve, the trying was worth something? How can I let people know that, like I said, whether it's sports or not, whether I achieve or not, I have value? And how can I make someone understand that running a grocery store is just as cool as being a famous YouTuber? It's just as cool as being an NFL player. And that doesn't come through us trying to convince you or push you. It comes through people understanding where their inherent value comes from, what they enjoy, and understanding that regardless of how they think the outcome looks, if you're trying and showing up every day with the best that you can, you'll be successful. But we're never going to be able to, that has to come from within. As much as even when we're talking about environment, I want to definitely talk about it. Like, yes, environment is not always going to be great, but I believe it's your job, if you're trying to push yourself further, to find and create the best environment around you. I'm a great accomplice. I'm a picky friend. I'm a real picky friend. Because everybody don't get to come home and meet moms. Everybody don't get to have ear time with me all the time. Because I'm particular on the people around me and who are going to get me to where I want to get to. And I'm doing that because I have to understand and I have to give myself the confidence and the safety net. If I want to jump with all my confidence, I have to be confident that if I don't reach my target, I'm not going to break all my bones. And to do that, it requires some internal things that are different. And that's why I'm asking these questions of, what do you want to do? Is it okay if you don't reach it? Who are you putting around yourself to get there? Like, these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. And yes, like we said, we want to have plan A and plan A, but the only way I can have a plan A is if I'm confident that it's going to work. And even if it doesn't work, that I have other options. And so this is why I just think as young people and as a community, the questions that we ask need to be a little different. We focus on success and achieving, but we're not even helping young people understand why success and achievement in certain fields is important. And so that's all I'm saying. And that's going back to tie it all together. Like we said, whether you're a janitor, whether you're an athlete, you can find excellence in whatever you do, but you internally need to know that excellence is there, because you're going to spend your whole life chasing it if you don't.
Yeah. Y'all feeling that?
The three of you, are you feeling that? And the reason I ask that, this is what's happening right now, and the beauty of this. This is how, the walls we put up, not because we blocking somebody out per se, it's for our own personal sense of safety, protecting ourselves. And so what you shared so far is surface stuff that's you're comfortable with putting out there. And what's been leaking through from time to time as you get more comfortable is a little more depth of things that operate within your life. And so we're all actually in the midst of a human experiment trying to connect. We know young people want to be connected with, and we know older folks want to make the connection, just struggling on how to do it. And for some of them, the connection would be get out of the way. But in this case, there are a lot of us who are prepared while we're cutting the road for it, got one hand trying to pull you for it. Because, look, we know when you look ahead in your life, you want a house, you want to be able to have funds to take care of family, spending money. You want to be able to have a career. A career doesn't have to be you're working up in office, but something that allows you to make something that allows you to survive, to have a job that is decent and healthy that will allow you to survive. We know that. And you know what? In a lot of ways, we haven't created it for you. When James talked about banks, what banks have we created for you? We're in the same banks you in. We're just now, in a real sense, get serious about some of the institutions we need to upshore and put in our community. And you see that, and that affects you too. But I want you to know you're part of helping us all to do this. I'm gonna stop there because I'm just digging the fact that you're here, and I hope that each time you come, you reach another level, because what we're doing in the room right now is also being done in the community. You don't know how many voices you're speaking for of other young people who wish they had a chance to respond to some of the questions or even a chance to speak. So I'm really excited about you, and I'm gonna say it again. Y'all got picked. Y'all got picked by the school because of who you are.
There's a certain radiance coming from you. And they did a good pick. I see it in here. And you haven't even reached your zenith yet. So like, right on, right on.
So my last question, as we kind of head out, we got about 5 minutes. It's real warm in here, but we got about 5 minutes. And it's something that my mom asked me a while ago, and it really stumped me for a while. I know we had talked about where we want to go in our gifts, and he had talked about deeper gifts, right? Not just about athletic gifts. You said being kind, right? Being nice, creating smiles. What is it about yourself? What is something about yourself that you appreciate that can't be taken away, right? You could hurt yourself, right, and not be able to play sports. But and we go back to this inherent value, which allows us to then pursue things to the greatest degree. Even if you got hurt, what is something about yourself that you think or that you're really proud of or happy about yourself, a trait that you have?
She was.
Sorry.
I think like I'm really goofy. Like I'm really goofy. I always laugh, always laughing at something. I like to see other people laugh. I'm a goofy person.
So my question would be, so whether you do track or end up in a different career, do you feel as long as you can make others laugh and smile, you're still walking in your purpose?
Absolutely. I feel like if other people are happy and I'm happy, that's a plus.
And so for what I was asking you, that's how we get people in grocery stores. Because then if track doesn't work, we say, hey, I got another option for you. You ever seen someone get a real fresh thing of groceries and be like, yo, this food is great? You see, you ever seen a smile that, and now that's how you can start to create these connections where it doesn't have to just be track. Track is what you want to do. And I'm believing that and praying that into your life. But if not, I know as long as you can make others smile, you have value to the world. And I need you to know that. And you're telling me that you know that. And that's what we want to create in the youth for you. Boxing skills aside, what is something about yourself that you believe that can't be taken away? Is it that you're proud of? What's a trait about yourself that you're just happy about?
My mind. I just like my mind. I'm just proud of the way. I got pride in how I think. Other people, everybody think a different way, and I just like the way I think. So.
But what about the way you think is different than others?
I won't give up. That's one of them. I gotta go well. I think so, at least.
Perseverance. Perseverance is something that you feel like no matter what happens to you, you can always find a way out. Well, then now you become a light for a community. Well, now it doesn't have to just be boxing. Maybe you just need to be speaking like me. Maybe your platform is your ability to push through tough times. We know we're facing tough times. You told us tough times are ahead. Maybe your ability to persevere is what's going to allow our community to move forward. So whether it's boxing, whether it's speaking, whether it's, I don't want to say cleaning floors, but whether it's boxing or speaking, as long as you are able to help people and be a light for perseverance, you're walking your passion. For you, what is a trait about yourself that you feel that can't be taken away that you're proud of?
I'm very dependable. So if you need me, I'm gonna be there. If I'm injured but the season's still going, I'm going to practice. If my mom isn't home and she's in a hospital, I'm gonna be there to help my brothers. So I'm very dependable. If somebody's not gonna do it, I'll do it. I'm very dependable. So if you need something, I'll help you. You need money, you stuck somewhere, I'll send it to you. You stuck somewhere and I gotta come get you, I'll come get you. So I'm just, I'm a friend. I'm loyal.
And you become what? A rock of a community. You're someone that, again, you got someone blazing us forward, but you also need someone to make sure that nobody gets left behind. And we know that you're dependable. So whether it's on a football field, whether it's as an administrator, whatever the case may be, we know if someone comes to you, they can get a response. And that means something. Even in your nursing, right? You're a dependable nurse. You're going to make sure that you're on top of your things. And I'm saying that to say, when you create a community that has a safety net for young people, helps them understand that they have inherent value. When you help young people understand what they were called to be bigger, right? Bigger than whatever they can tangibly touch. When you help young people understand they have value, whether they reach their goals or not, only then do you create a community where you have young people who are truly confident to step into life, but also step into life and trust that they'll figure it out as they get there. But it requires all these little elements, all these little pieces and questions that we have to ask ourselves. As we're leaving out the interview, I know we had a call that we missed and things of that nature, but I want to make sure that y'all get a chance to leave with some last words, maybe something you want to say again. Maybe it's something as simple as a high bomb or something you want to say to the community. Maybe you want to ask, hey, if you know about a boxing ring, here's how you get in touch with me. But as we leave out, you have a little bit to have your last words, and we can start from either Mr. Payne or start from Jim and work our way over.
I'm fine. I'm rolling with them.
The same thing I've been saying to you guys is that I think it's important to have a sense of purpose and spirituality in terms of who you believe in. I believe in Jesus Christ. And you know my position on that. I think it's important that you have a sense of perseverance and continue to endure and achieve your goals.
I agree. I just feel like whether it's like Jesus or like if it's Allah or anybody, just there's a higher power. Coincidences happen and anything like that. Just trust in the unknown, trust in love and support and all of that good stuff.
I think like I believe in myself. Like I got self-belief. I don't know. I just feel like I can make it through and I know what I'm doing.
Be you, love yourself, and trust in yourself.
I'm gonna just say I appreciate everybody. The world needs more people to make people smile, to get us through tough times, and to be dependable, right? And I think it requires the education, the experience of elders in our community, with also the ears to listen for the youth. So I appreciate y'all coming. I hope that y'all were able to take some. I know our listeners were definitely able to take things. So we appreciate y'all. Hope to get y'all back. I enjoyed myself. And is that all the time we have? We got 3 minutes left. Okay, we did not have the time right, so we just got 3 minutes left.
Hey.
Hold on, let me think about how I wanna turn it. Is there anything
Can
you
they
would
do
like
an
to say?
ask? Can they
Oh
do
yeah,
an ask?
let's do our ask. Yeah, let's do our ask. So for the three of you guys said you guys have goals. One thing you would like to throw out to the community as well as a way for them to reach you. So if you want someone to say, hey, I want to know what the next steps for boxing are.
They're young people.
What is one thing you want the community to try to help you with, or one thing you would like to ask for? Because closed mouths don't get fed.
Availability to the resources that we need to succeed. So like, I would like help. Like, help is important. Like, help shouldn't be in certain areas because of the people that live there. It should be everywhere because, yeah, I'm human. So if you can put it in Orchard Park and all those other private schools, why can't you put it in regular city schools?
What help specifically are you talking about?
Like athletically, because I've been to because I was going to transfer sophomore year to Timon, and I went to one of their practices. One of their practices is equal to like half of our season. It's crazy. They practice in the morning and they practice after school. That's dedication. They work out, they run, and they practice as a team. And when you're in the locker room with them, they're brothers. They don't argue. The coaches is like their best friend, and it's like a family, but it's serious. And that being in that environment and then having to go back to my school where none of that is even required is crazy. And because the same, even though I'm in high school and they're in high school and we're both aiming for the same goal, but if they have better resources, it'd be easier for them to get there.
So you want more help, especially when it comes to athletic exposure.
Right.
We done? All right, I'm sorry, y'all. Listen, I gotta watch on. I'm not the best with the time, but I appreciate y'all. Hope we can get that athletic exposure, get you with somebody who can help you box, and maybe get you with a track coach. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all later, Buffalo. Tune in next week.
Let them do their ask on Facebook. Then they can still do it on Facebook. So go ahead and put your ask out there because we're still live. Even though we're not on the radio, just unplug that. Go ahead, make your ask.
Yeah, you can just talk to what do you want? Do you want a box? What is something that you want?
Okay.
Can you lift your mic up so people can see him? Go ahead. There you go. Speak in the mic. Go ahead. Speak loud.
I'm not sure what I want. I'm not gonna lie. You go.
Like Najai said, I need help in the nursing field and on track, like as sports.
So track and nursing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like a mentor?
Like to study for nursing. And like track, I need a coach. I need a trainer or something. Please.
Okay. That's fair.
How y'all feeling? Yeah, okay. Y'all can bring it back, take it up a notch too. I want you to get comfortable with